you people back in the Shire, turn your porch lights off because we're coming home with a trophy.
Hey there, welcome to SharkCast Pod, podcast dedicated to the great team, most fantastic, fabulous Cronulla Sharks. The greatest team in the history of the world is what I'm trying to say, and it'll become evident why I can't say that sometimes in this episode. This episode is brought to you by Dyson Logistics, the Royal Motor Yacht Club in Port Hacking, and Jason Hawes at Crips and Crips Real Estate. I am an OG, Sam Shinazzi, and I am joined by a regular co-host, a good friend of mine. The world loves him. He is a Sharks fanatic, as I like to call him. He's our Sharks analyst, and he is the great Mr. Joshua Bolling. How you going, my friend?
Very good, mate. Bit wet around Sydney, especially in Cronulla parts.
First of all, I want to say thanks to everyone who's reached out for me being so dramatic about my health. You can hear I'm a little bit croaky. We're going to get through this fine and have a great time. But it does limit what I'm doing this week, so apologise in advance for that. And if I sound a little croaky here and there, just forgive me. It's all good. We're going to move on. Josh, we won the local derby, which is the greatest news every year. Like I love winning local derbies. I love winning the home local derby. This wasn't a classic by any means, but we'll take it. There were positives in there. As always, it's just funny to see those guys lose. And then they humiliate themselves, and they're now known as the Dargans.
How good is that? And they also ruined the jersey for Fatamanu Brown as well with the wrong date. They had him debuting in June. So maybe it's a time travel, I don't know, but they just get worse and worse, and it makes me even more happy.
They weren't very good on the weekend. There wasn't much going on. They manned up for a while. They went to our left a couple of times and got some luck there, but overall, they're a very average team, and I'm glad we at least had a 10-point win over them. Conditions weren't great. By the time of kickoff, the water situation was fine. The drainage was fine. But it did affect the game a little bit. It became quite a slow, Shane Flanagan-inspired kind of match. So it suited them. They couldn't get the win. What did you make of our Sharks?
I thought we were okay. I thought the game itself was a bit of a poo slinger. Didn't overall enjoy the spectacle of it, but sometimes that happens when it's raining and you've got a team that's struggling. They're going to try and, make it as middle of the field, dodgy, hold down in the ruck like that. And I guess that led to a lot of the 6 agains that we saw. That was just a terrible referee performance. But besides that, I think we did what we needed to do. I think it was good to see the boys have a bit of adversity and have to overcome that, even though not against a great side. We still had to overcome, it was a 10-0 lead or so, deficit. I think the second half was a lot better. I think we improved, and I think we did what we needed to do, and we got out with the 2 points against the dastardly Dragons.
Yeah, I thought we started okay. Kafusi scored first. They hit us late in that first half down the same side, which was pretty annoying. What did you make of that? Is that an issue, or...?
No, it's frustrating. I know it's hard when you're in the moment and it's, this is first grade rugby league and you've got to make decisions in a split second. But I just don't think Ronnie needed to bite on both of those occasions. I thought Iro did a good job at holding his line and then sliding, and he had the centre covered both times. And Ronnie just bit in both times. I think maybe a lack of communication or, a second of doubt, and came in to help his mate. Those are easy fixes. And this is what first grade's about. You're going to make mistakes. You're not always going to be perfect. And we've been pretty good the last few weeks. So nothing of a major concern for him. I think Ronnie just needs to trust Iro a bit more and just stay on his man.
Who stood out for you?
I thought Tommy Hazelton was outstanding again. In a game that didn't reach too great a heights, I thought he was fantastic with over 100 metres, 20-plus tackles, another try. I mean, the guy's he's a freak. And I thought Kafusi, I'm really happy with the front row pairing at the moment, especially with them both starting. I think Kafusi's getting better every week. He looks more impactful with his runs. His defense is incredible. I mean, he barely misses a tackle. The stats we've got down here from my end, he's missed 8 tackles all year, which is, for a front row forward, that's That's incredible. With only 2 errors and no penalties conceded for the year, I think he's doing a fantastic job.
Yeah, he's so solid. Like, even the way he runs, his style, and I've said it week in, week out, like, he's not going to make too many highlight reels, but he's got a very consistent style the way he runs. He's a hard runner. He almost reminds me of a Saifiti brother, almost. That kind of vibe where they're bigger humans than what they look, and they get through more work than what the stats might kind of indicate. But he's getting better every week, and he's doing a good job to, I feel like, secure another contract, which is a whole other topic because it's getting pretty crowded in that front row area with Fonua Blake coming in next year. But yeah, him and Tom set the table. They both scored tries, which is pretty cool.
How often does that happen when the front row pairing both crash over?
I've got some mail here about that. If you just bear with me. James, James, who's in Ireland, lives in Ireland. He said, I can confirm from personal experience the odds of both Kaufusi and Hazelton scoring, so not first and last, but scoring, was 50-1, and he took it.
Wow.
he got up. James from Ireland
Wow.
got up. So that made my day seeing that. The confidence which Tom Hazelton is running with now is such a beautiful thing, man.
The second he got that ball, I knew he was scoring. Like, the second he was charging onto that, you're like, well, it doesn't matter if there's 18 people in front of him, he's getting through and scoring. Like, he looks so athletic for a big man. I don't know if it's the big long levers and the long legs and the big bald head. Like, he just screams like first grader from the 80s to me. And I wasn't alive in the 80s, but that's the vibe I get. Like, he would have torn it up back then. Another guy I want to actually give a shout out to was Jesse Ramian.
Yeah,
I thought he was bloody incredible on the weekend yet again. Another 150 meters, 16 of 17 tackles, a couple of offloads, a few tackle busts. Like, the guy looks possessed when he's running the ball at the moment. He is our most damaging back, and that's a pretty mean feat when you've got blokes like Sione Katoa and Ronaldo taking the ball up as well, and Iro. He's just I think he's primed for an Origin spot. I think if he got picked this year, he'd do a really good job. Not that, selfishly I wouldn't want him to, but he's playing that level of football.
Yeah, and I think that if we reach the headlines we want to reach over the next month or so, he's going to be a big part of that because of the physicality he brings to his game now. 10 out of 10. Like, he's just up for it. Every hit up, every tackle. He's a guy who's not missing too many tackles either. And easily one of our most, I think, improved in the general scheme of things. He was always pretty good. Last year was pretty good. But this year he's just dynamite. And
he's elite.
Yeah, he is. He really is. And I love the fact that it's going under the radar. I think all that stuff's going to help us semi-final time, People not really considering Blake to be that good. He's playing really good. Ramian's out of his skin. Just these guys that you don't really associate with being elite, they're playing at an elite level most weeks. Blake wasn't elite on the weekend, but he was still pretty good. He got the job done.
He was good, yeah.
Yeah. So, again, there's not really anyone who's letting us down. The six agains were a bit annoying. I think some were justified, some definitely not. There was a bit of a crackdown, I think, across the whole NRL. It's frustrating as a fan. I'm sure it's frustrating as a player. But I thought the referee, and Josh, I never talk about this, but the referee I thought had an influence on that game, and it wasn't a good influence.
I completely agree. I try my best not to be a ref's falter and
absolutely
having the ref dictate how I think about a football game. But there was just no flow whatsoever to that game in the first half because the guy wouldn't put his hand or his whistle away. And I think he's generally a pretty good ref. Remember, isn't it Todd Smith? I think it is.
Yeah.
I think he's generally pretty good. But just that first half, he would not let anything go. There was not even an inch. There was one in particular that really set me off was he blew a penalty on the fourth tackle, I think it was, against us for holding down in the ruck. The tackle hadn't even been completed yet. They were still fighting to get to the ground. And he said, too long penalty. You're too slow. It's like, dude, they hasn't even tried to play the ball yet. What are you talking about?
It didn't suit the conditions either because the game was slowed down enough as it was. You have to allow for that a little bit more. And he was just on a mission. And, I mean, he accomplished his mission. Dan Atkinson, sensational. running, defense, unbelievable. I know that he's a different player to Trindle, and I'm looking forward to Trindle coming back in the coming months. But man, if Atkinson can play like that every week, we're in a pretty good spot.
I did have faith that he would do a job, but I didn't think this early I would feel as comfortable as I do with him now. Like that first game against the Rails, I was like, man, I just have no idea how we're going to play. Is our structure going to change?
Yeah.
The only thing is that his ball playing is nowhere near as good as Trindle's, but he's not that type of player. He's a runner.
Yeah.
And so that's fine. So what we lack without Trindle with ball in hand, we're probably getting more out of Atkinson with the running. He ran for another over 100 meters again, made his tackles. Like some of those chop downs, he did it against Canberra a few times as well, just chopping the legs out of big boys. Like I'm really happy with how he's going, and I think he's only going to get better.
I think so too, because he was rushed in. Last week, not so much. He really impressed me, and I couldn't decide whether his defense or his running was better for me, but just great to see. Back row, as usual, just unbelievably consistent. We saw the bench of Jack Williams, Talakai, Rudolph, and Hamlin Wally played some limited time as well. Unfortunately, Toby Rudolph is injured and out for about a month, which is a bugger because he's been in really good form. Really good form.
Yeah.
What'd you make of Nico?
I thought he was really good. There's a few touches where I questioned if he was overplaying his hand a little bit, especially in the weather. But I thought overall, again, controlled the game. We played it the game was played at his pace for both sides. So I thought he dictated the speed of the game really well, and that accurate kicking game again, like just putting it in corners, kicking on short sides, sweeping and running on fourth. Like no one knows what he's going to do. But I have, when there's that saying that you don't even think they know what they're doing, I think he knows exactly what he's doing at almost all times. And that's the most impressive part about it. Another true try assist as well. He started slow with the try assist this year, but now he's really starting to pump him out again. And
yeah,
man, he's just, I think maybe, I don't know if you feel the same way, but do you think having to take a bit more control again has just maybe kicked him up the bum a little bit?
Possibly.
Not that he needed it.
I haven't really thought about it in that way, but possibly, you're right. Yeah, possibly. It could just be warming up into the season as well. It's a long season. Yeah. I like this more cool, calm, methodical Nico Hines. I think that's a word I am going to attribute to him in 2024, methodical, because previously a bit more kind of off the cuff, play what you see. I think Fitzgibbon spent the summer with him and said, this is where we need to lift your skills. It's in controlling the game and just getting it right. And we've seen it in games against the Cowboys where they're winning by 40, and he still will, kick on the fourth to try and get some good field possession rather than throw a Hail Mary and score another try. So I love what he's doing. I saw there was a conversation today about he potentially said something like he wasn't ready for Origin again, and that kind of scared me a little bit because I don't want to go through that whole thing again of him being so affected by a state of origin. If he's ready, then chuck him in. If he's not, don't. But he looks pretty good to me. I think he's as good as what he was in his Dally M here. It's just a bit different.
I don't know what it is, and I don't really care about public perception or what other people really think. But I think he is still so underrated in terms of where he's at as a footballer in this entire league.
Yeah.
We could be biased, but I feel like I'm pretty fair. I think he's a top 3 or 5 player in the league.
Yeah.
And I still don't think he gets the credit for how good he is. And I don't think he'd care about that. But sometimes it's like, man, people just think, oh, Nico, it's the whole Dally M joke. He gets points for doing nothing, whatever. It's like, for me, he's doing so much off the ball, his defense, his goal kicking. Like he contributes so much to this team and how good he is. That makes us why we're so good. And I think it's still underappreciated. It's
the way he's carrying himself too. He's brought the physicality, he's brought the attitude. He's a bit of a badass this year, and I'm here for it. I like it. I think the team suffers from the same thing, Josh. And over the next month, it's going to be painful for us as fans to put up with the part-time fans or the opposition fans and the media. Because if we slip up a little bit, That's all you're going to hear about. And me personally, I can get over that. I can look past it. But it's not going to be much fun. And I think that the team suffers from what you just said Nico suffers from. That's a lack of respect. But they have
earn it.
They've fallen short. They've fallen short. So it's up to the team. It's up to Nico to turn that around. We'll talk about that shortly. I did want to get through some mail while we can, Josh. Adam said, thinking about our draw, getting the Raiders early twice, the Warriors in New Zealand in round 1, it's been a good thing. 2 of the coldest and miserable places to go during winter that we've dodged. Also, Nico's defense reminds me of E.T. mid-career. He turned into an excellent defender. That's from Adam. Thoughts on dodging some bullets there? Josh, as far as venues go, not going in winter makes a lot of sense.
It does, but I guess when you're playing at Shark Park in the freezing cold like that, it could be, if anything, it could be worse at times. Oh, look, I mean, yes, I think there's definitely advantages to that, I think. It doesn't really matter in terms of, like, you could get, the Raiders at the end of the year or the middle of the year when it's freezing cold, but they might have 10 players out injured. Or you could get, anyone at any time in different circumstances. So I try not to think about that stuff too much because you'll drive yourself crazy in scenarios and ifs and buts. But there's obviously advantages, like going down to Melbourne this week. It's going to be cold. It's going to be maybe wet, but they've got some of their best players out. So does that balance things out? I don't know.
I think we do tend to look into these things a bit too much. Not saying Adam is or you are or the media is, but sometimes it's just like, let's go play some footy. Like, let's not worry about it. But I think he's right. Like, I was the same thing. It was like Warriors round 1. Beautiful. Won't be slippery. The whole thing. So thank you so much for being in touch, Adam. Now, our good friend Smitty has sent us a voicemail, a voice recording. Josh, I'm going to play that.
Hey, Sam. Smitty from Taree. First time popping in this year because only reason being I've been listening and enjoying it and agreeing with everything you're saying about the players and all. Enjoying your YouTube as well. How good are the Sharks going? So awesome. But you're still here. They haven't played the top teams, of course. But in the last 8 or 9 weeks, you can say, well, we've had enough practice for when we do. So I'm looking forward to that. The big tester will be Magic Round, I reckon, against the Roosters. Simple fact that if I'm not mistaken, we haven't won a Magic Round game in Suncorp or Lang Park, as I can recall. But that'd be a good test, the Chooks. Anyway, up, keep going. And me and the family will be down to watch South play Sharks at home, and I might try and sneak down for the Penrith game, and hope to catch up. We usually sit around the Shark Tank, and have a good one. Up Cronulla. Cheers.
All right, that was Smitty, great man, sending us a voicemail. Anyone is welcome to do that. He's heading down to the Shire, which is going to be cool. He's a happy chappy, and I like what he said about the 9 weeks has been a good prep, and now we're on our way. Unfortunately, it's all we're going to hear about. But let's jag some wins. Let's talk about what he mentioned, Josh, about the hardest games in this run. Do you think the Roosters at Suncorp, because of the Magic Round thing?
I still think Panthers will be the toughest, but the Roosters are playing the best at the moment.
Yeah, they're scoring a lot of points.
They're kind of flying. Yeah, they're flying at the moment. There are some deficiencies in that side, though. There's some weaknesses there. They are very good. I think it's actually going to be a really good matchup. I'm really excited for that. It's going to be blockbuster Saturday night, like Suncorp Stadium, Magic Round. Like, come on. Like, how good's that? Like, I can't wait. Like, I really can't wait for this period. Like, I think Sharks fans should be excited about this, not scared and worried. Like, this is what you want to be in the big games. We're going to be center of attention for this next month of football because it's banger after banger for the next 5 weeks. We're versing big teams. We're coming first. We have a lot to prove, so we're going to be getting spoken about. And if we can win a couple of these games or all of them, people are going to start turning their heads. And teams, don't forget, teams are going to be worried about playing us too. Don't listen to what people say a lot of the time. They will be scared to play the Sharks. The way we play football, the way we attack teams relentlessly. I'm nervous to verse Penrith, but they'll be nervous too. Don't get that wrong.
Yeah, well said. Well said. Josh, we're going to have a live production meeting on air. I'm going to let you know the old voice box isn't going too well. So what we're going to do is we're going to move on from the mail. We'll cover the mail in the coming episodes. No one's mail will go missing. Appreciate you writing in. Keep writing in, sharkcastpod@gmail.com. But I'm a little bit worried that if we keep talking about the mail, I want to get through the other stuff. And the other stuff is not any more important, but I want to get to the other stuff. So mail to come. So we'll do the mail another time, Josh, I promise. And we appreciate everyone. I'm glad we got through a little bit of it. There's a lot more to come. But Josh, let's talk about Melbourne, the run over the next 4 or 5 weeks. How do you truly feel about it? Because I'm not that fixated by it. I understand why some people are, whether it's a fan or whether it's the media. I get it. You're going to play tough teams at some point. Like, this is like what the finals is like, right? If we were to have a team that goes through 4 weeks of finals, it's the same thing. You play tough games. I'm looking at it one at a time. One game at a time. That's all I'm doing. I'm looking at Melbourne. But we are on a run, 4 or 5 week run, if you want to include Para. How do you feel about it all?
Like I said, I am really excited. This is where you want to be. I want to be versing the Melbournes and the Panthers and the Roosters and the Broncos. I want to see where we're at. And I think the team would be excited by that too. Sure, it's fun to go and smash, the Dogs and the Dragons and stuff. That's good, and you need that. But I want to beat the big teams. And someone's pointed out to me before that it's this could more or less be what we have to do to win a comp this year. You're probably going to have to beat a Melbourne, and then you're going to have to go and beat a Panthers or a Roosters.
That's how it works.
And if you can, that's how it works. These are the 4, possibly 4 of the teams that we might have to beat to win a comp. So why not this is a perfect little practice finals run if you want to say that. I really can't wait.
I'm hoping that we finish top 2, and then you, in theory, only have 3 games. Or even top 4 and have 3 games, whatever. But yeah, this is what it's like. Now, I'm on the Fitzgibbon side of things where you can't judge us and our season after this run. You can see where we're at. You can see where we need to improve, where we're kicking butt, where everything is super. But you can't just go, they're not going to win the comp because they dropped 3 of the 4 games. That's not how it works. If they drop 3 of the 4 games, then you need to get better, no doubt about that. But it doesn't mean your season's over. I'm not trying to warn everyone and go, we're going to lose these games. I'm quite confident in every game we go into. I think we're a great team. But I'm just not buying into that whole, we'll see what their premiership credentials are. That's BS, man. You'll see where we're at, no argument. You cannot dispute that. But anything else, I think is just sensationalism, right? It's not accurate.
No, I completely agree. Let's say we lost every game, these 4 games, right? Okay, that sucks. We would have liked to have probably won 1 or 2, but it's round 10, man. Let's see where we're at round 25 and finals week 1.
It's legitimately either not or very close to half the season gone once the run is over. That's a whole other half season. That's why if anyone's sitting back going, this is going to define us, it's not going to define us. Because the flip side is, if you win all 4 or 5, that doesn't mean you're going to go on and win the comp.
Exactly.
It puts you in a good place, and it's awesome. But we've seen only too well in the last few years, you got to get it done later in the year. And it doesn't mean you shouldn't be doing it now, because you should do it all year round. You should be like 2016, where you're just invincible. I just hope people out there aren't falling for the whole, this is the season right now, because it's not.
And like you said, we might go and win all these games and then lose 5 in a row to the Knights and, the Cowboys and the Dogs. And then, what do you say then? So obviously you want to win as many games as you can, and it's always great to win games, but it's all irrelevant at the end of the year when you get to those finals, because in 2 years' time, who's going to remember if you beat the Panthers in round 12? They'll remember if you beat them in the finals week 2. That's what matters. And performance, if we play well and lose, that's just as good for me. If it's a good game and we get beaten by the better side of the day, that's sport. Fair enough. That's what I'm looking at. Obviously, I want to win. I desperately want to win these games. I want to win every game. I don't want to lose every game in my life. But that's not how it works.
That's another good point you make, though. If we go close in every game, that's not a disaster. that shows a lot of things. That shows that you can go with them. You're a field goal away, you're a try away, you're a tackle away. I hope people are staying calm. That's why we're banging on about this a little bit. Sharks play Saturday night, 7:35. Blockbuster. 1 versus 2. We haven't been in one of these games, Josh, since 1999 as the first place team, playing a second place team. They've got a few injuries, the Storms. At fullback, they've named a young guy called Logo, who's unbelievable. Now, I don't know if he's confirmed to play. I think there is an injury cloud around him. I would be very much targeting this young man and worried about what he's going to do. He's that good and that hard to stop. So keep an eye on him. Grant Anderson comes in on the wing. Cam Munster plays 5/8. Tyrone Wishart, who's competent young guy, he's in that Storm system. He's playing halfback, so no Jerome Hughes. What do you make of the Storm team, Josh?
It's definitely not their best team. There are some players there that, I'm trying to be respectful. I'm happy they're playing. Grant Anderson is, he's a toiler, but he's a reserve grader. Wishart is not a 7. He was playing wing last week. Scraping the barrel there a little bit, but man, they still got some really good players. Like Cameron Munster and Harry Grant can win them games on their own. So, and then you've still got Nelson on the bench. Like there's still really good players there, and they can still definitely beat us. And this side would still probably beat a lot of NRL teams, but they're very beatable. There's a part of me that wishes like they had all these guys playing, because so there's no excuse. Because like we've been saying, now if we beat them, everyone goes, you've beaten, a reserve grade Storm side. If we lose to them, you lost a reserve. It's a lose-lose situation.
There's no winning. Yeah.
But I'll take the 2 points. But I think we should win this game.
Yeah, I agree.
To put it out there.
I agree. I do worry about the fact that it is the Storm. It doesn't matter what position Wishart plays. Like he's going to play his heart out.
Yeah.
And they all will. So the Sharks have to have their proper attitude and bring their defensive mindset, play like they've been playing, and they will win the game. I guarantee you that. Yeah. But if they don't, if they're off their game, it's not going to be as easy, even with the team the Storm have named. So I think they have to just play this one with as much intensity as any game this year. I would almost say the footy starts now. Like, this has been a great 9 weeks. You've had some fun. Let's go up a notch just to make sure, So Sharks team is as per last week, minus Toby Rudolph. Big Royce Hunt comes in on the bench, and you will find that Big Tuku will travel, and I'm guessing Mawini Hiroti will travel as well. So they'll be hanging around the squad as well. Otherwise, a pretty solid, consistent Sharks team in form. How do you think we get it done?
And I know this is very counterintuitive to what a lot of people say about winning a game. I think we win it on the edge. I think we win it through our back row, and I think we win it through our centres. They're going to be crucial to us in this game, especially just because I think they're slightly weak defensively out there. Eli Katoa is a great player, but he can make poor defensive reads.
Yes.
And Sean Bloor is still fitting into that edge as well. I think, again, another really good player who I like a lot, but I think they're very susceptible there. And I think with good ball playing and with tough runs and grit, I think there's actually a lot of opportunities for points there. I also don't think Remus Smith and Nick Meaney have been that crash shot this year. And then you've got Grant Anderson out there who I would be targeting heavily all night.
Now, is Nick Meaney next to Katoa on the right for them?
I think he is.
Yeah.
I think
doing my research, I did note that Katoa, as tough and big and awesome as he is, he can miss a tackle, make a bad defensive read, and so can Nick Meaney. So if you got them together, it's not the Grant Anderson side, though. I think Warbrick's on that side, I think. I like your game plan. I would not disagree with that. I also think the forwards get it done if they're Like if our props can get ahead in the opening 20 and the other guys come on, do their job, it just creates that space for Nico and also for Atkinson. But I think we need everyone firing. And I think that if everyone's firing, it'll be I'll say a comfortable win. I don't think it'll be a blowout by any means, but it may not be a 2-point win after all. Hopefully it's a bit more of a relaxation period for us towards the end of the game. But it's a Storm. You never know what's going to happen down there. We've won 2 games at that venue in total. So it's a shocking record down there if you care about that stuff. If you don't, I understand. Want to give a shout out, Josh, to our Melbourne friends. Particularly, there's a group on one of the social platforms who specifically a Victorian supporter group. They love the podcast. They give us heaps of shout outs and support, and so we give that back to them. They're meeting pre-game. So if you're going down from elsewhere outside of Melbourne to watch the game, whether it's Sydney, Queensland, wherever else you're coming to watch the game, there is a pre-game bash. And if you get in touch with me, I'll pass on the details. But hopefully those guys and girls have a great time. While I'm talking about the Melbourne crew, Josh, we had some sad news. There's already been some sad news down there with one of their longtime fans passing away this year. Unfortunately, Adam Stapleton, who's a great fella and big Sharks fan, he passed away last week. So sending our love and support to the Stapleton family, in particular Tim, Adam's brother. And I know they're pretty sad down there. They're going to have a good celebration of his life and supportership. He's a shy boy. We send our best to them, and hopefully they'll get the job done, the Sharks boys, to cheer you guys up a little bit more. But yeah, our condolences for sure. Thank you to Susie for that sad information to pass on, unfortunately. Josh, it's going to be a beauty, man. I'm like you. I want to see us play some big teams, and that time has come. It's weird how it's all set up, isn't it? Like the draw is just weird, and it's stupid. We know that. It makes no sense. It can't make sense. You don't play everyone twice. The whole thing. You've heard it all before, but we've had a pretty good run. It hasn't been the easiest of runs. We had a pretty good run. 4 or 5 weeks of finals footy in round 10. It's a weird situation. And for everyone complaining about their team having hard runs, it's like, well, we've got a hard run over 5 weeks. Does anyone else have this kind of hard run throughout the year? No one's spun that story, right?
No, it is good that it's acknowledged. It's like, yeah, okay, we've got a hard run, but like everyone has easy runs, everyone has hard runs. Like the draw's random, if you believe that.
It is random, yeah.
Yeah. We don't control the draw, and who's to know that a team that you think is going to be crap turns out to be really good one year? Like, that's the thing people say, like, oh, Manly were not in the top 8 last year, and now they are, and now you've got them twice. Like, you just can't predict these things sometimes. Like, so I don't really buy into any of that. Like, if they're good, like, you got to beat everyone. So let's just do it.
I must say that given my place of work and what I do there, I cop it a lot particularly from Sharks fans about the way that the team's represented and the way that they're spoken of. And, you can't beat a top 8 team. You can't beat a top 4 team. And then you fire back and you go, well, we beat the Warriors and they were top 4 last year. Yeah, but they're not top 4 now. Well, it's as though you have to put
changing the goalposts. You
have to put like an asterisk and go, what top 4 are you talking about and when? It's laughable, the whole thing.
Yeah, the people are always moving the goalposts, and that's why I don't really care anymore because, look, we're first, and we can only beat people underneath us. There's no one above us to beat at the moment, so cop that.
It'd be fun to stay there, I tell you, Josh. Look, we want to say thanks to everyone for listening. Different episode this week, a bit shorter. Again, my apologies. As you can hear, it's not a pleasant time for me to be talking. But I love talking to Josh, and I love talking about the Sharks, so appreciate everyone's support. We will get to your mail, so keep it coming in. Don't stop. And we'll do some episodes when we can. When that is, I can't tell you, but it'll be as soon as we can. And I can't wait for Saturday night, Josh. It's going to be epic, man. I will be editing this podcast heavily, Josh, because there's coughing, there's swearing, there's all sorts of stuff going on from this side. But thank you for your time. Thanks, everyone, for listening. We'll get back into a better routine as soon as we can, we promise. Everything's cool. It's going to be cool. Up Cronulla. Let's go to Melbourne on Saturday night and win Win well would be even better, but just win, baby. Stay top of the table, and let's get some of those doubters. Let's get some of those doubters to doubt less, I think is what I'm trying to say. Talk to you soon, Joshy. Up, Cronulla. Let's play the song. We won. Woo! Up a Duggins.
Sharks forever. Go out and play without fear. Now's the time to see good football, for the Sharks are here. Sharks!